The only 8 dumbbell exercises you need to transform your entire body. Many weight trainers cling to the idea that they need hundreds of different movements and sophisticated machines for every muscle in the body. However, the reality is much simpler. With a few well-chosen exercises, proper execution, and a pair of dumbbells, it is entirely possible to sculpt every muscle group and achieve great results. After all, what makes the difference is not the number of exercises in your repertoire, but the quality and consistency with which you perform them. That is why today, you will see the 8 best dumbbell exercises that can completely transform your body. And the best part, these exercises are accessible for beginners and challenging for advanced practitioners. Just adapt them to your needs and training intensity. Before we begin, please leave your name and where you are watching us from in the comments. Exercise 8. Dumbbell curl and press. The overhead dumbbell curl is an interesting variation because it combines 2 fundamental movements, elbow flexion and shoulder and elbow extension, working the biceps and shoulders intensely, in addition to recruiting the triceps at the end of the movement. It is like a combo that works the front part of the arm, and, as a bonus, generates a good activation in the deltoid region, especially in the anterior deltoid and in the core stabilizers, since you need to maintain a firm posture when raising the dumbbell high. This exercise is great because, besides saving time, it promotes a dual stimulus that enhances hypertrophy and strength in 2 fundamental muscle groups for anyone seeking well-built arms and stronger shoulders. To perform the movement correctly, start with the dumbbells at thigh level or by your side if you prefer. Raise them to shoulder height through a curl, keeping your elbows close to your torso and without swinging your body to gain momentum. When the dumbbells are aligned with your shoulders, transition to the overhead elevation, pushing the weights firmly and in a controlled manner, feeling the triceps and shoulders working to complete this phase of the movement. The most common mistakes include pushing the dumbbells using momentum from the legs or torso, which takes away some of the emphasis from the biceps and shoulders, moving the elbows too far away from the body during the curl, and excessively arching the lower back when raising the weights overhead. Additionally, many people lower the dumbbells too quickly, missing the opportunity to work the eccentric phase and risking the shoulder joint. Exercise 7. Dumbbell pullover. The dumbbell pullover is a classic that for decades has been considered a fundamental exercise for both the chest and the back, and with good reason. It primarily targets the pectorals and the latissimus dorsi, working the flexibility of the scapular waist and the expansion of the thoracic cage, in addition to secondarily recruiting the triceps and the core muscles for stabilization. Although there is debate about which muscle group the pullover emphasizes more, the fact is that it is a true wildcard for trunk development, as it improves the range of motion and strength in the upper limbs as a whole. The great differentiator of this exercise is the stretching range it provides. As you take the dumbbell behind your head, you feel the chest and back stretch deeply, favoring a gain in flexibility that can improve performance in other movements, such as the bench press and row. Moreover, the pullover helps build a more powerful upper body, allowing for a smoother transition between pushing and pulling exercises. To execute it correctly, lie on a horizontal bench, holding one dumbbell with both hands, extending your arms above your chest. Keep your elbows slightly bent, and slowly move the dumbbell behind your head in a controlled motion, feeling the stretch in the pectorals and lats. Go as far as your mobility allows without forcing the joints beyond a safe limit. Then, bring the dumbbell back to the starting position, contracting the pectorals and lats well as you do so. The torso should remain firm and stable, with the feet firmly planted on the floor for greater balance. Among the common errors, the tendency to excessively stress the shoulder joint by taking the weight beyond what your mobility supports stands out, as well as overarching the lower back, which overloads the spine and reduces the focus on the intended muscle work. In addition, many people accelerate the return phase of the dumbbell, wasting the contraction moment and placing undue stress on the shoulders. An important detail is to keep your breathing synchronized. Inhale as you take the dumbbell behind your head, and exhale as you bring it back. Exercise 6. Dumbbell thruster. The dumbbell thruster, very popular in CrossFit, is a movement that combines the front squat with the push press, resulting in a highly metabolic exercise that targets the legs, glutes, shoulders, and also intensely involves the core. It is one of those complete exercises that elevate the heart rate and promote both strength gains and cardiovascular conditioning, making it one of the favorites in functional and high-intensity training. Its main differentiator is the energy transfer from the legs to the upper body. When squatting, you strongly recruit the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings. In the upward phase, this force is redirected to propel the dumbbells above your head, working the deltoids and triceps explosively. By integrating two major movement patterns, squatting and pushing, the thruster stands out as an efficient way to kill two birds with one stone, optimizing time and burning calories at an accelerated pace. To perform it correctly, hold one dumbbell in each hand, resting them on your shoulders, with your elbows slightly facing forward. Position your feet at shoulder width and perform a squat, keeping the torso upright, the abdomen firm, and the knees aligned with the tips of your feet. Lower yourself as far as you can without losing the natural curvature of your spine. Then, explosively rise, transferring the impulse to your arms and pushing the dumbbells above your head. In this phase, keep the elbows firm and avoid arching the lower back. Return to the starting position by bringing the dumbbells back to your shoulders and then repeat. Common mistakes include leaning too far forward during the squat, which overloads the lower back, using only the strength of the arms to lift the dumbbells, wasting the power generated by the legs, and not controlling the descent, losing proper posture alignment. In addition, taking a very short pause between repetitions can compromise the quality of the movement and lead to premature fatigue. Before we continue to number 5, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Constant access to accurate and science-based information is what will help you progress in the long term in the world of weight training. Exercise 5. The Farmer's Walk. The Farmer's Walk is an apparently simple exercise but extremely powerful for the entire body. Essentially, you just need to hold one dumbbell in each hand and walk a predetermined distance or for a specific amount of time. At first glance, you might think it's a breeze, but the fact is that simplicity is deceiving. This movement involves virtually every stabilizing muscle in the body, requiring grip strength, forearm contraction, work from the trapezius, deltoids, and core to maintain an upright and balanced posture throughout the journey. The legs, of course, also work to support the body and move in a controlled manner. What makes the Farmer's Walk so special is its functionality. It is a movement pattern that reproduces everyday tasks, such as carrying shopping bags or suitcases. This makes it ideal for those seeking practical strength and improved performance in daily activities. Moreover, it is an exercise that requires little space and almost no complex technique, making it accessible for beginners and, at the same time, challenging for more advanced athletes who can increase the load and the distance walk to progress consistently. To execute it correctly, pick up 2 dumbbells of moderate weight and hold them by your side with a firm grip, keeping the shoulders back and the chest open. Activate the core to stabilize the lower back and align the spine. Begin walking slowly and securely, taking regular steps and keeping your gaze forward. The idea is to sustain the load with a stable torso, avoiding any lateral tilt or excessive curve in the spine. The longer the route, the greater the challenge for grip strength and overall conditioning. The most frequent errors include rounding the shoulders forward, letting the weight pull the spine in different directions, and hastening your steps, which can compromise stability. Another common oversight is choosing dumbbells that are too light, which does not offer enough challenge or overloading, causing compensatory movements in the body. Exercise 4. One-arm dumbbell row. The one-arm dumbbell row is an excellent exercise for working the back, especially the latissimus dorsi, trapezius, and rhomboids, as well as the biceps and forearm, due to the effort of holding and pulling the dumbbell. The unilateral version allows for a greater focus on correcting muscular imbalances, as you can notice if one side is stronger than the other, and work specifically to balance that difference. Additionally, it is a movement that significantly recruits the core, since keeping the torso stable while pulling the weight requires good abdominal and lower back contraction. The great differentiator of this unilateral variation is the possibility of better isolating the working side, providing a greater range of motion without the compensations that can occur in bilateral rows. This adds additional emphasis on movement control and helps improve the mind-muscle connection, meaning the ability to clearly feel the back muscles during execution. To perform it correctly, position yourself so that one knee and one hand are supported on a bench while the other foot is firmly on the floor, keeping the spine neutral and the abdomen active. Hold the dumbbell with the free hand, letting the arm extend toward the floor. Then, pull the dumbbell toward your torso, keeping the elbow close to the ribs, feeling the contraction in the lats and the middle of the back. Avoid twisting the torso or using sudden movements to lift the weight. Lower the dumbbell in a controlled manner, taking advantage of the eccentric phase to intensify the muscle work. Breathe in a controlled manner, synchronizing the pull with the exhale and the descent with the inhale. Common errors include rounding the spine, raising the shoulder toward the ear, which can unduly tension the upper trapezius and limit the work of the rhomboids, and swinging the body to compensate for the load. It is also common to only support the hand and knee without properly aligning the spine, which can lead to lower back pain. Exercise 3. Lateral dumbbell raise. The lateral dumbbell raise is the classic exercise to develop wide and strong shoulders, mainly focusing on the lateral deltoid. When well worked, this muscle gives the upper body an appearance of greater width and definition, which can be highly desired for both aesthetic reasons and to improve strength and stability in the shoulder joints. Additionally, the trapezius and the anterior and posterior portions of the deltoid also come into play to stabilize the movement, although to a lesser intensity. The reason this exercise stands out is precisely its ability to isolate the lateral deltoid, something that many other shoulder movements do not manage as well. Although it is relatively simple to execute, the lateral raise becomes an important component of any training aimed at achieving aesthetic and functional balance in the shoulders. However, simple is not synonymous with easy. This is one of the exercises that is most commonly done incorrectly at the gym. Extra attention is required to maintain the correct execution. To perform it correctly, stand with your feet approximately at shoulder width, holding one dumbbell in each hand by your side. Keep your knees slightly bent to absorb impact and maintain balance. Raise your arms laterally, keeping your elbows slightly bent until your hands reach shoulder height. Imagine as if you were giving a little elbow lift. At this point, feel the contraction of the lateral deltoid. Lower the weights in a controlled manner, returning to the initial position. Keep the core firm and avoid swinging the torso to generate momentum. Breathe fluidly. Without holding your breath, inhale as you raise the dumbbells and exhale as you return. The most common mistakes include raising the dumbbells above shoulder level, which can overload the trapezius and joints, and using too much body momentum instead of focusing on the strength of the shoulders. It is also frequent to internally rotate the shoulder during the upward phase, which directs part of the effort to other muscles, and may cause discomfort in the joint. Exercise 2. Incline dumbbell press. The incline dumbbell press is a variation that prioritizes the upper part of the pectorals, besides involving the shoulders and triceps. It is particularly valuable if your objective is to develop that upper part of the chest, bringing more thickness and definition in the region near the shoulders. Compared to the flat bench press, the incline version requires an angle that puts the anterior deltoid into greater action, while strongly recruiting the upper fibers of the pectoralis major. What makes this dumbbell version special is the possibility of having a slightly greater range of motion and working both sides of the body evenly, reducing the likelihood of strength imbalances that can be masked when using a barbell. Furthermore, dumbbells allow for a more natural rotation of the wrist, which can bring comfort for those who experience shoulder pain when doing the barbell press. To perform the incline press, adjust the bench to an angle of approximately 30 to 45 degrees. Sit down, pick up the dumbbells and lie back, holding them at chest height with your palms facing forward. Keep your feet firmly on the floor, your lower back slightly arched, and your core contracted to stabilize the torso. Push the dumbbells upward, extending your elbows almost completely, but without stressing the joint. At that point, feel the work focused on the upper chest and shoulders. Then, lower the dumbbells in a controlled manner, taking advantage of the eccentric phase to intensify the stimulus and preparing for the next repetition. Among the common errors, it stands out to set the bench too inclined, which makes the exercise similar to a shoulder press, reducing the focus on the chest. Another mistake is to abruptly bring the dumbbells together at the top of the movement, which can generate instability. It is also common for people to lose shoulder stability, allowing the dumbbells to shift out of their natural line. Keep your wrists aligned with your forearms and avoid leaning against the backrest when pushing, as this reduces the emphasis on the chest. Exercise 1. Dumbbell swing. The dumbbell swing is an adaptation of the famous kettlebell swing, but it can be perfectly executed with dumbbells. This exercise generates intense work for the posterior chain, glutes, hamstrings, and lower back, while also recruiting the core and even the shoulders due to the movement's dynamics. Because of the momentum and the need for stabilization, the swing also elevates the heart rate and becomes a great exercise for those who wish to burn calories and gain conditioning. It stands out precisely by combining strength and explosiveness in one movement. When swinging the dumbbell, you learn to harness the hip drive, generating power from the glutes and protecting the spine through proper abdominal contraction. Moreover, the swing is an excellent exercise for improving motor coordination, posture, and muscle endurance, as it demands continuous effort from multiple muscle chains simultaneously. To execute it, hold one dumbbell with both hands by the end, keeping your feet separated at shoulder width. Slightly bend your knees and hinge your torso forward from the hips, keeping your back straight and your core firm. Bring the dumbbell between your legs without letting the weight drop much below the knees. Then, explosively extend your hips and knees, propelling the dumbbell forward and upward, approximately to shoulder height. The force should come primarily from hip extension, not the arms. In the lowering phase, let the dumbbell return between your legs, controlling your posture and preparing for the next swing. Now, one last notice. Unfortunately, even if you perform all these great exercises, it will still be difficult to see good results if you are making any one of the 11 most common mistakes that most people commit without even realizing it. If you want to know what they are, we have a video now appearing on your screen showing each one of them. Thank you for watching up to here, and may God bless you, my friend.